in a bid for Peter Obi to boost his chances in the 2023 presidential election, which holds 178 days from now. Nigerians in the diaspora have formed groups of committees to launch crowdfunding initiatives for the presidential candidates of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. They plan to unveil in the coming days a crowdfunding portal with a target to raise $150 million from Obi's supporters in the diaspora and 100 billion naira from those in Nigeria. This day has reliably okay, $150 million and 100 billion naira. Well, a dependable source also close to one of Obi's supporters leading the process said yesterday they are targeting small amounts in contributions to be gathered from supporters largely from the grassroots to help the Labour Party set up more structures across the country and make the former Anambra State governor a formidable contender in the presidential race. The initiative is being driven by young enthusiastic Nigerians in the tech sector who are making waves and yearning for new leadership at the helm of affairs in the country, some of whom have only recently come of voting age. They are organizing themselves into small communities and groups to contribute small amounts in a major effort to help Obi's campaign establish structure and presence around the country. Interestingly, while some of their parents are either supporters of PDP or APC, they are rooting for Peter Obi, a source involved in the discussion disclosed to this day. The campaigns for the presidential election, which holds February 25th, 2023, will officially commence on September 28th, 2022. Unlike 2019, when the race was essentially between All Progressives Congress (APC) and People's Democratic Party (PDP), Labour Party has become a major factor in the coming presidential poll. Obi, who was in California, is currently on a foreign tour to meet his supporters in Canada, Germany, London, Rome, and United States, where it is expected he would raise a substantial amount of the funds needed for the election. With that amount of cash, he would be able to build structures for Labour Party across the country and become a formidable opponent in the 2023 election and a threat to other candidates, the source said. Crowdfunding is a financial method that raises money by soliciting small individual investments or contributions from a large number of people. Political crowdfunding is widely considered an acceptable medium for raising funding from grassroots supporters. Crowdfunding, particularly online, speaks to much wider groups than a party's usual support base, while minimizing time and effort for both the party and donors. It also has the potential to enhance a sense of community between the party and its base. People without large amounts of wealth are seldom asked to support political parties financially, but with the advent of crowdfunding, this has changed and supporters with relatively low financial strength are now seen as a huge resources for most parties, according to a report by Sweden-based International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. However, as with political party funding, generally political parties that engage in crowdfunding have to take the legal framework into account. Most countries have regulations for donations and related privacy and transparency issues. In many countries, parties are only required to report donations above a certain threshold to encourage smaller donations, while allowing the monitoring potentially risky larger donations in order to prevent money laundering, terrorism financing, as well as other illegal financial transactions. The funds are also subjected to taxation. The automated nature of crowdfunding can allow donors to divide donations into smaller amounts more easily, thus circumventing the report obligations that apply to donors, although this only applies to some countries. The IDEA report stated, Hey, this one no be joke. Oh. This one no be joke. Opportunities also abound for proactive collaboration between the diaspora community and the federal and state governments in expanding healthcare delivery, improving the quality of our health system, as well as ensuring skill transfer to locally based practitioners. Nigerians in diaspora, when effectively engaged, can act as important trade ambassadors and negotiators for the country, especially at the level of attracting small-scale boutique businesses. No country thrives economically merely by exporting its raw materials and importing virtually everything. Such a disposition weakens our economic base and employment capabilities. You can imagine. This one, e no be joke. Oh. No be joke at all. No be joke at all. The other time we saw an ice cream seller doing what he knows how to do best. Well, as things stands now, I won't even be surprised to see Tinubu and Atiku donate to Peter Obi's campaign. Ask me how. By spending half of their campaign money criticizing the ordained Peter Obi, who from all indication is with a tailor rights now as expected, given his measurements of presidential dresses in the next 4 years starting May 2023. I like your optimism. Don't you think it is the other way around? As a day passed without the obedient passing comments on Ashwaju, check where it is rather you are lying about his age. Who is lying? Somebody who came out and said, oh, he did not go to primary school and secondary school. So they lied against him. He said it by himself. Okay, you are very correct. Already they are donating to his campaign because their criticism makes him more popular. Well, I like your arguments, but my brother, forget politics and let us talk about probity with all sense of reasoning. And forget about your phrase of reference, obedience. Is Nigeria better from 2015? And was Tinubu not what made Buhari possible for Buhari to become the president? And finally, as Buhari fared well, now the same Tinubu wants to become the president, and you are not asking yourself that which Tinubu has for what Tinubu has for Nigeria. And the man is still telling you that the situation you say you don't like that Buhari has created, he said he wants to continue from there. So whose fault is this? Is it the fault of him that said I wants to continue, or the fault of people who say no, we cannot continue in that line? Well, Tinubu has been in the news for the wrong reasons since we returned to democracy. During the OBG administration, Gani Fahimi of the blessed memory dragged the same Tinubu to court for forgery and perjury. The murder of Funshaw Williams is still being discussed in hushed in tones in some quarters. Tinubu is the culprit, but they said no evidence. Everything about him is shrouded in controversy and evil. Morally, is the least qualified person to become the president of this country. Yes, people know what they are doing.